You gonna, like, make a joke? There's usually an intro joke. I can't. Like, you can't think of a good one? No, like, I'm incapable of thinking of anything funny, or even fun for that matter. That game was the antithesis of fun. It was the single least fun thing I have ever seen with the eyes in my head. Like you don't even have a Matthews thing and how it's his return to Arizona? Yeah, people kept saying that. He's played there 3 times now. I think the video's supposed to start, I forget. Hi! Victory puppy! Land the I have no idea what I'm doing. This team is ruining my life! Leafs lose 2-0 to the Arizona Coyotes. I'm going to go ahead and do Arizona Coyotes fans if I were you right away because Leafs fans and I need to talk after. Coyotes fans are a bunch of people after the game being all salty. Don't listen to them. Oh, most of the people in the stands were Leafs fans. It's not even true. Half of the people in there wearing Leafs hats and shirts and jerseys weren't actually Leafs fans. They were Austin Matthews fans. They were fans of a guy who's a product of Arizona hockey. That's why. So whether they were wearing a Coyotes jersey or a Leafs jersey, they were people from Arizona celebrating Arizona. And I saw a bunch of people go, wow, the Leafs look terrible against the 25th place team. Well, you haven't been watching the Coyotes, have you? Oh, on paper, they're awful. I didn't even think they were that strong to begin the season, but after all the adversity they faced, all the injuries, it's been even worse. With 1 win, they jumped up 3 spots. What you have heard about the final playoff spot in the Western Conference is no exaggeration. No one wants it. And the Coyotes are one of 3 teams tied with 57 points, and they are just 3 points out of a playoff spot right now. At the moment, there's only 2 teams in their way, Vancouver, who is 1 spot ahead of them but still out of the playoffs, and Minnesota. The Coyotes have 2 games in hand on Vancouver and the exact same amount of games played as Minnesota. The Coyotes only have 4 wins in their last 10, and out of Minnesota, Vancouver, Arizona, and Colorado, they're the hottest team. This is why Chicago, who's tied with Arizona but loses the tiebreaker, they're 8-2. They might actually do this thing and make the playoffs. But sorry, this was supposed to be happy for Arizona. Don't listen to the haters. And celebrate, not just a win, but the success of Arizona hockey. Toronto thanks you. That's how I would feel if I were you. Now, Leafs fans! Oh, why do you watch these videos, huh? Because I freak out when they win, yeah! And I get mad when they lose, and I stomp around and scream! This 2-0 loss murdered my soul. The coffee was not good. The coffee didn't even take. And I had a pot. I had a whole pot. And a pot of coffee the next day couldn't motivate me to talk about this game. This is my 12th season of making a video after every single Leafs game, and we're more than halfway through the 12th season. I have talked about some really, really bad hockey teams playing in some really bad hockey games. Like, look at this. Like, oh, haha, last night's Leafs, who are supposed to be the new look Leafs, look so bad that they look like the old Leafs, ah. No, dude, I used to, like, get excited about that team. I used to, like, get mad. I feel nothing today. I actually feel nothing. Last night I was doing Hockey Central Saturdays with Rob Pizzo, so I'm sitting there and we're doing a radio show and we got all these TVs on the wall and I'm watching them all. I'm watching all these games. And it was actually a relatively low-scoring night around the league. And I look up and I realize it's been like 15 minutes since I knew the Leafs game was on. I thought they were in intermission the whole time. I'm not watching the highlights. I'm not going to read a box score. I read one last night and it told me everything I needed to know. Rory Boylan showed me the natural stat trick heat map of the Leafs versus Coyotes. The Leafs generated nothing! I don't care what their final shot total was. It was 15. They had 15 shots. I don't care what they ended with. Before they pulled their goalie with like 4 minutes to go, they were still in the teens. That's not a good NHL team. That's not even a bad NHL team. That's a relatively mediocre AHL team. The Coyotes deserve credit. Darcy Kemper with the shutout. That's lovely. Rick Tocchet with a wonderfully coached game. That's lovely. I felt nothing! Because they generated nothing. No, okay, there was one exciting thing, and it was a highlight reel goal that we had stolen from us, the William Nylander high stick. This is another reason why you either gotta get rid of all reviews or start introducing more. Because if you're interested in justice and getting the call right, They did not here. They got it wrong. And I'm not even talking about the high stick that led to the goal. So Zach Hyman's there and he's battling and he thwacks Darren Archibald in the head. But that isn't called, and the puck is in the air, and William Nylander, who is facing away from the net, bats it over him, over Darcy Kemper, and in. It's insane that he meant to do that. But it's immediately waved off for the high stick. Now, I thought that was low. I thought it was a little bit below the crossbar, but the call on the ice was no goal. I guess it was relatively close, so it's no goal. Fine, that happens all the time. That's what it is. So they got the call right. Nope! Getting the call right would be awarding the Coyotes a power play after the fact, because not only were they not scored on with a legitimate goal, but one of their players was high-sticked, and you can see it right there on the camera that you're reviewing. It's not a reviewable play. Okay, no, you're looking at it, though. So here's how silly following the rules is. The refs have to ignore half of the screen. They got to ignore part of what they're looking at, but only take into account the left part of the screen? Does logic not say, well, you're looking anyway? No, you can't start reviewing penalties. It would take too long. This review took 5 hours. It's like so many things in work life. Do you want it done quickly or do you want it done right? Because if you want the fastest sport on earth to remain that way, you have to accept that there are going to be some mistakes, or you slow it down and review everything. And what compromise has gotten us is this joke of a Frankensport that no one even likes. At the same time, we are slowing the sport down and getting the call wrong. Everyone happy? Everyone enjoying this? Is this fun? Whee! I mean, geez, it was the only part of the game that made me get out of my seat. And then Nylander's laughing about it. It's all a big joke. I'm sorry, that is the least fun I've had with a hockey game in a long time. I'm just telling you how I feel. I think when I yell and scream, you think I'm putting on a shtick. No, I'm nuts. I'm not even tired from last night. I had a deep, peaceful sleep. This game was just bathing in lavender oil. Gotta put a DVD of this game on in yoga classes. Just watch people fall asleep mid-chaturanga. But I tell you what, I've been talking about how boring the game is. Steve, it's boring. We know. Here's what I'm going to say, Leafs fans. That game against Vegas was absurd. And it was so fun and so emotional and chippy and high-flying and high-scoring. And they did so many things well. They sort of undermined and erased it with this game. But all the talk after this game is, oh, they lose, and oh, they're not very good, and oh, Boston just passed them in the standings. Including this game, the Leafs are 7-2-1 in the month of February. Including this game where they got shut out, the Leafs have scored 32 goals in their last 10 games, 3.2 goals per game, and their goal differential is +8. They've scored 8 more goals than their opponents have. What if, and this is a rare one for me, what if the Leafs just had a stinker? What if, rather than panicking and talking about how this will affect the first round series against the Bruins, we accept this one game as just a fart? It was a once-a-month fart. A once-a-month, if that. It was an anomaly. This team has been great for the past month, and this one game sucked. 2 days ago, the Leafs were in 2nd place. They're in 7th now, and behind the Bruins. If the playoffs started today, the Leafs would not have home ice advantage against Boston. Now, all that's happened in those 2 days is the Leafs lost one game, and other teams played some games. What if the Leafs, who are a good team, lost one game over the span of 2 days, and it's kind of tight? That's what I think this was. That's all I think this was. It was terrible. I don't want to watch it again. I don't even want to tell you what happened in it so that you can relive it. And don't get mad, how often do I do this? It was bad, really bad, burn the tape. Yeah, but what about this that they did bad? This is the... Noted. So maybe don't burn the tape, just keep it in your pocket. And if they do it again against the Blues, who have won 9 straight, by the way, then you tell them. Then you let them know. But for some reason, because the Leafs are positively ridiculous, I think their game against the Blues on Tuesday is going to be a barn burner. Oh, that's a strong Daigle jinx. You like it? Let's do LFR questions. I'll do a bunch. Do you like mac and cheese? Yes. Yes. Who says no to mac and cheese? Do you think the Leafs have the fire that burns within? Just eat the salad, Manny. Okay, I think this is a great question. Do you worry that the Leafs are sometimes too skill reliant and that they forget how to grind when they face a rope-a-dope team like the Coyotes? Makes me think of Team Canada versus Team Latvia or Switzerland sometimes. Okay, so here's the thing about Canada versus Latvia and Switzerland. They killed those teams! They were the way better team. Their goalie stole the show. That's not what happened in this one. The Leafs did not make Darcy Kemper work. Forget the shots that they had. Did they even have a scoring chance before 5 minutes left in the game? I don't think it's that the team is too skill reliant. I think they try to grind too much and they play beneath themselves. I think this team does know how to grind, but they don't play to the style that they should be. Against Vegas, that game that probably coaches don't like that much because it had 9 goals in it, that was the Leafs. That was a game where they grinded and they banged around and they hit people and it was chippy and they were flying this way and that way and they made a few mistakes, but they made the other team pay because they have so much skill. The Leafs and Bruins series just ruined everyone. That third period screwed everything up. That wasn't relying on your skill or not being tough enough. That was not using your brain. And Freddie, who's an amazing goalie and one of the reasons the Leafs are good, wasn't very good in that game. We don't like talking about it, but he wasn't. And Rask was even worse, which makes it so much more heartbreaking. How do we always come back to Boston? So Boston in the first round again. No, Derek, stop it! Do the Leafs set plays need to be just a tiny bit less predictable? Yes, that's why they've been so good the past few games, why their power play found success, is they were less predictable. The way the Leafs play sometimes, you don't even need a video coach to prepare for them. You need YouTube. This isn't a question, but it's my book cover photoshopped into Urdu. That's friggin' sick. Did you really watch the whole game? No, I didn't. I was so blessed that I was able to watch other games. Winnipeg versus Ottawa was a carnival. That was great. Tampa versus Montreal was a lot of fun. And by a lot of fun, I mean super violent. But I remember when I went from working at Leafs TV when the Leafs were really bad and just doing Leafs highlights to working at CBC where I got to watch everyone, the relief of not having to watch the Leafs. And I haven't felt that for a while, and I felt it last night. It was brutal. Such a bad game. Is Babcock really a problem? Oh, no, we're giving him a pass this game. We're giving this game, we're giving them a pass. Is John Tavares a robot? I'm not sure, but I think this was the moment he became captain. Any more questions? No, I'm good. Oh, thanks, Kayla, for that. Really helpful. I mean, geez, is that not this game in a nutshell? Do I have to end it now because of Kayla? Fine, I will. Hey, here's something. Today is the final day, February 17th, to get 40% off my book. It is available on indigo.ca. 40% off means this book is just under $12. Under $12 for a book that has 344 pages. And depending on a couple things, I think it has to do with maybe where you live. It might even be free shipping. So if you pre-order, you just get a book for $12. Just for watching this video about that painful game, you get a free sentence. They drove me around and told me all these facts about Regina. Wow. Here's another one. Man, that trade sucked. That could be so many trades. Ooh, and a lot of you have been asking me about like where I'm going to do book signings and stuff like that. A little bit of a book tour. There should be an announcement this week. We're obviously going to figure out the Greater Toronto area first, but I'm angling for a cross-Canada tour. I want to do some places in the States. I want to go to Europe. Maybe even Australia. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends to enjoy Family Day. One bad game's not the end of the world. And $12 book.